Welcome everybody. We are here in the eSpot Billiards and Arcades TQ Live LAN tournament. This is actually going to be game number 2. I do not know who won the first game, but we're going to be watching Terranuapart, the Protoss on the right, going up against Ziddy, the Terran on the left. I am tQzander, and along with me, as always, is the most lovely.
Thank you. It's tQAtticus, and I'm glad to be here. Tearing you apart did win game one. I know that, and that is our Protoss player spawning in the 3 o'clock position on Lost Temple.
Very nice, very nice. And I do want to make one note about this player tearing you apart is that he's actually in the TQ Invitational, a tournament that, if you are not familiar with, is going to be one of the greatest tournaments ever. It is a half invite, half qualification tournament where you have 16 invited professionals going up against 16 players that qualify through previous tournaments, and tearing you apart is one of them. We've got Nova Starlife, we've got various awesome players, Sheth, we're going to have Diderot, really top level players are invited to it. $125 prize pool. It's going to be amazing. We've got actually the last qualifier for it tomorrow if you guys want to try and get into that. And it should be amazing. That's really all I can say about it.
Yep, really am looking forward to it. Ziddy from the chat sounds like he's a random player.
Oh, very cool. I did not look at his race in the beginning. I just assumed that he picked his race because generally people don't random.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I've been seeing a lot more random players. Perhaps it's just because people want to learn the other matchups as well. Playing random for a long time is an excellent way to get to have intimate knowledge of all 9 matchups.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really great to be a random player if you can actually pull it off, because essentially you have to learn 9 matchups and you have to know all 9 matchups. And if you look at it in a way, that means you have to play 3 times as much as a one race player to really know it as well as a one race player.
Yep, and random in that sense specifically is almost always a disadvantage in a tournament. As the nature of random, you really have no way to prepare yourself for your opponent. If I'm a Zerg player and I go into a tournament and I play a Terran that I know that does this certain style, I can prepare a strategy ahead of time. But as a random, I can't.
Yeah, it's much harder to do that. And we do have a gas steal from Tearing You Apart onto Ziddy. So that is an interesting little thing to see. Ziddy is just wailing off on a pylon right now. We do have a Chrono Boosted Zealot coming out for Tearing You Apart. Probably going to try and get rid of this SUV, and we can probably see what Tearing You Apart is going to try and go for next. He's researching Warp Gate. I'll be curious to
Yeah,
see
the
if...
builds are starting to delineate now as we see Terran taking that second gas.
Yes. Yeah, we do have to watch out with the whole saying Tearing You Apart versus Ziddy, because this is the annoying thing about casting Terran apart is that he's a Protoss with a Terran in his name. So you short his name to Terran against a Terran player. It's just confusing.
We're still calling him tearing. I'll throw that ing in there for accuracy.
All right, sounds good. Um, but now we get to see what he's going to do. We do have a second gate, 3 gate.
Yep.
So we might be seeing a 3 gate pressure into expand. That is, I believe that's actually used a lot in the Korean server as Protoss against Terran.
Yeah, 3 Gate Expo is a super popular build, and of course it should be because it allows you to survive most, if not all, of that very early bio pressure from a Terran while expanding and keeping an advantage.
Yep, and now Ziddy is getting his second refinery the
Yep.
moment that the assimilator is taken down, and he actually still went for a 1-1-1, still going for tech with the starport. We'll see if he builds a Banshee. He will have enough for a Banshee once the starport finishes. I'll see if he's actually... He might want to wait for a Raven. That could be what he wants first.
Yeah,
Um,
you typically want to get the Raven out first, not for detection, but just to help it build energy so that you can use the point defense drones. Point defense drones, along with Banshees, is just ridiculously strong.
yeah, it does cost a lot of money, and we did throw down the tech lab, so we could be seeing a Cloak or a Raven coming out once that is done. Nexus is also going down for 10-year part, so he is doing the 3 gate expo. We'll see if he throws down a couple more gates in a robo, which is very likely.
Yeah, neither player has really scouted each other very accurately. Although, no, I take that back. Tearing You Apart has in fact scouted the 1-1-1.
Yeah, and next year we're going to be having a Cloak and Banshee coming out first. There will be no Raven first.
Yeah, he's going to be opting for a supply block.
Supply block is a very strong move in some cases, and by some cases I mean no cases.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. He's not going to have that Banshee out for a long time.
Yeah, but look at this.
Yeah,
Tearing you
he's
apart
freaking out. SCV's being pulled.
very unnecessarily. This is not enough to take down this wall, the one bunker alone. So I'm kind of interested by the fact that Ziddy is freaking out this much. Yeah, it now has two full bunkers full of Marines. It's walling off completely now.
Another bunker going down.
Wow, Ziddy. Ziddy is really, really scared right now. The Banshee is still supply blocked. It's at 41 food right now, and Terranuapart's at 53. This is going to end up being Terranuapart's game. I'm going to call that right now. See if Terranuapart can just continue to actually get the advantage, even more so than he already has. Is Ziddy going to
Hmm.
start poking? Yep, there it is. Ziddy's going to poke and almost lose a Marine.
Yeah, Ziddy, this is really unfortunate for him because I've heard that he's a fairly strong player, but it does seem like he's just got a bit of a nervous case going on. Consistent supply blocks.
Yeah. And now we do have a Robo out as well as a Robotics Bay coming down as well. So tearing you apart is really going to be good in terms of tech and tech path and all that. Tearing you apart is going to have to start dealing with siege tanks though, as Ziddy does have it out and is researching siege mode. He's also supply blocked again and has over 1,000 minerals.
Oh, very unfortunate. Terran, yeah, even realizing that he can just pull back. I don't know if he's able to understand how much of an advantage he's at right now. But either way, he's still competently and comfortably macroing.
Yep, the only issue is this Banshee that's coming down into the main base of tearing you apart. And he does have another observer out on the field, but he's kind of away from the main base. Look at the units count. We do see two observers, 46 probes originally. One's gone down, two has gone down, third is going down. Ziddy's going to continue attacking these probes. Good Banshee control, going to be able to do a lot of damage. Going to take out one more probe, and now we have Stalkers being warped in and moving in to start taking out this Banshee. Twilight Council did just finish for tearing you apart. He's actually might going to use that for possibly Templar, some form of Templar at the very least. And this Banshee needs one more hit to die from the Stalkers, and
Oh,
he does not get the hit off.
barely gets away. That's always a very difficult strategic question for Protoss players at the highest level. If you're a Protoss player and you scout the 111 build, you really ought to say, okay, I need to keep my observer at my base instead of using it to scout, because then you will not have it available for the Banshee cloak.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing I really like about tearing you apart is the fact that he got that second observer, and now he has an observer going down to the natural as well, so he's gonna be able to start attacking this Banshee if he decides to move up. And this Banshee only has one kill; he hasn't really disturbed much. This one Stalker's down to 4 health, but that's really the main damage that this second Banshee has done.
Hmm.
Now,
Not as effective as you'd like them to be, I'm sure.
yeah, not at all. And Ziddy does have a command center that did just finish. He's bringing it down into the natural, salvaging his bunkers, and be able to move down with his Marines and his tanks. And then he should actually be okay. The only issue is his macro, as Ziddy right now is at 64 food, 2,000 minerals, versus tearing you apart, who has 400 minerals and 100 food.
The Banshee at the back of Terran's base does, in fact, go down, tearing you apart's base. Excuse me. Um, I really have to say that Ziddy is not looking comfortable at all, and tearing you apart has to know by now how good of a position he's in.
Yeah, Ziddy is definitely a little bit worse for wear right now. Look at the APM for a second. He does have enough APM to be a top player at 106 versus the 122 of tearing you apart. It's just I don't think he's using the APM well. He's definitely flustered. He finally found the proxy pylon from tearing you apart up at the front, and now tearing you apart is actually going to move out. He's got a lot of army here. He's going to actually take down that Banshee and then just retreat. That's a really great exchange. Going to taking out a large piece of tech from Ziddy.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow reaction time from Ziddy.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what is up with Ziddy right now, but he is just not looking too great.
And now I hope he can overcome his nerves in the rest of this match, as these are best of threes. So, and it is double elimination as well, so Ziddy will have another chance to come back in this tournament if he does lose this game. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping with the siege tanks out, he calms himself down a little bit, gets oriented, and starts up his macro. And as we can see, still floating on about 2,000 resources. But Barracks coming out and looking to switch to mainly Marauder production.
Yeah, and now Ziddy is doing a good job with this Cloaked Banshee, taking down sentries. Great choice of unit to pick off while he can. Taking out the sentries is he just took out effectively 8 force fields. He took down 2 full energy sentries, and that is actually a very huge loss for Terranuapart. Granted, he has so much right now; it's not a big deal to lose anything, but it's still always frustrating to lose those force fields and Guardian Shield, especially against those Marines.
You're right, and the same Banshee, splitting up his Banshees, and still getting